Okay, guys, we are still on Unit 1. We're coming to a close. So these are the last two targets that you are going to see this week. We are going to also talk about Target 5. That video has already been uploaded. So this week we're focusing on systems. So if you take a look here, the next target that we'll be seeing this week is graphing the system of linear equations so that we can find out what is the answer to x and y without doing the steps that we did before, or just to confirm the steps we did before. So the first one is pretty straightforward. It's in the right y equals mx plus b format. So that makes it a little bit easier to graph. So I'm going to do the first one right now. That is going to be the -2 for the y-intercept right there. And remember, this is your slope. So since it's negative, we're going to go down 1 and right 3. I'm going to take a straight edge out here and graph that line through the 2 points as best as I can. When you guys do graphing of systems, you really want to use like the edge of your ID, a ruler. You don't want to wing it, because you'll even getting off just a smidgen will give your answer, get you an incorrect answer. So the second one, let's do that in purple here. The second one here is +2 y-intercept. So I'm going to go there. And its slope is also negative, but down 5/3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right. 1, 2, 3. Oh, look how lovely that is. The reason that's super lovely is because the answer to a system with graphing is where the two lines intersect and cross. And if you notice that right there, boom, one landed right on top of the other. So this guy here is your solution point. So you always want to write that out as a coordinate. That's over 3 down 3. That's going to be the solution. And if you're just wanting to double check, you could easily plug that in, substitute that in to the original problem and just see, is it really true, equal or not? So -3, is it really equal to, that's going to reduce, -1 minus 2. Yep. You should also check the other guy. So you would put the y value in -3 here. And then -5/3 times +3, that's +2. That's going to be -3 equals -5 plus 2. Yep, that's a match too. So that's just a guarantee. Do you need to check each time? No, it's a really good idea, but if you really feel confident and secure with your work, then no. All right, so the second one, it's not in the right form as far as y equals mx plus b is. So this is your call to either you could rearrange it and do that, or you could remember, substitute your intercepts, meaning your zeros, in for each one and kind of get out what your points are for each one there. It's kind of your call on how you want to graph that. I'm going to do intercepts on this first one. If I plug 0 in there, I'm going to get 4 out. If I plug 0 into y, I'm going to get -4 out. So I'm going to graph those 2 points, 0, 4, -4, 0. I'm going to use my straight edge again. Again, I cannot stress more, especially, you know me, I'm awful sloppy at times. The accuracy is just, it's a must that you use straight edges. So now I'm going to go to this second guy right here and do the same thing with 0. So if I put 0 in for x, that's going to be 0 plus y. I'll just show you 0 plus y equals -1. And if I put 0 into the other spot, I'm going to get 4x plus 0 equals -1. And that's going to be -1/4, right? Because I've got to solve for that. 4x, yeah. I don't know why I'm holding on that. So let's see. That looks awful weird, but maybe it's right. So if I put, let's just double check here. If I put 0 here, that's just -1. And if I put 0 here, yeah, that's going to be -1/4. So that's a little different graph. So 0, -1 there. And slope 1, 2, 3, 4, back 1. I just kind of did the slope there too, just because I know if I estimate a quarter, which is right there, I may not be accurate. So I kind of didn't like that fraction. So I would advise that if you get a fractional number, then maybe just do slope intercept. Okay. So if you didn't see how I double checked myself on that one, I just, in my mind's eye, I rearranged that problem so that I knew my slope was -4, and that's how you saw me move 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. That's how you saw me notice that this is your solution now. So your solution is -1, 3. And again, you can always check your work and put that in. All right, so I'm going to do target 6 on the same exact video because they're so much alike. The difference is going to be I'm going to shade in this other video or this other example. So here we go. We're back to this. So it's kind of the same thing, but where we have to be careful is we have to be careful with greater than symbols mean we're going to be shading up. If there's a bar, that means my line is solid. Less than symbols mean I'm going to be shading under the line. But if there's a bar, the line itself is going to be solid. So these indicators with that equal bar tell me my line is solid. But again, if you're looking here, these guys are going to be shading above the graph, and these guys are going to be shading below the graph, okay? So just keep that in mind. All right, so let's graph this one. We go start at 5. We're going to go up 3 over 1. I'm going to go in the opposite direction just to be careful. And I got to look really carefully right now at this symbol. It's not inclusive. There's no bar. So I'm going to make sure I dot this when I graph it with my straight edge. Again, a dotted line to tell me that no answers can land on that line. It's a boundary only. So there's my line. And if you look at my pencil, everything this way is above the line and everything this way is below. I know I'm going to be below this line. So I'm just going to very lightly start to tell myself that get ready. I'm going to have to use that later. Okay. So that's just the top line. Now I'm going to use my purple pencil or pen and I'm going to do the other one. So that's -4 plus 1. So put 1 there and then go 1, 2, 3, 4 back 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. This guy here now has a bar. So it is solid as far as a line, meaning it's okay to get an answer that lands on this line, but not on the dotted. So now looking at just the purple, if you look at just the purple, above the line and below the line. Please don't say left and right. You'll confuse yourself, okay? Say above the line and below the line. And if you really don't know, then you should grab a make-believe point and test it. Now, here's the tricky part. I'm supposed to shade above the line. So I'm going to get different, I'm going to just kind of do this lightly here. I'm going to get some overlap. The overlap of the pencils and the purple is the answer to the entire system, but each line on its own has its own set of answers. So the purple is just here. The dotted pencil is just here, but where they cross from here to here to here and all the way out, that is truly my intersection answer of the system. So I'm going to make that darker. Some people don't like to use pencils and mark pens because they get lost in what's the real answer, meaning the overlap. Some people like to use highlighters so you can see where the two highlighters cross. So you can see that, you've got some pencil part down here that's not an overlap, and you've got some purple pen part that's not an overlap. Neither one of those is the answer to the system. Any of these answers is here. So if I ask you to give me an example of one point that is in the solution set, you got to go into only the zone where it's solid shading, solid line. So like I'm going to make one up. So I know that 8, 0 works. These are just samples. There's tons of answers. I can go over here and do like this one here is over 3 down 4. That's a solution set example. Again, these are just samples. And then I can even land on the line here and get one of these because it's solid, but I can't land on the dotted, just so you know. So like I could grab one of these points. It looks like it's 1, -2. I could grab that one. All right, let's do the other one. I'm going to use the intercepts for the first one, and I'll use slope intercept for the second one. So if I put 0 in for x, I get 2 out for y. If I put 0 in for y, I get 5 out. So the pencil one I'm going to do easily there. So 0, 2, 5, 0. Look at my symbol, dotted line. look at my shading for pencil only is greater. So shading happens above. So again, I'm going to be really light here. Again, some people like to use highlighters and see where the highlighters cross. I tend to not do that first because it makes me nervous if I make a mistake, and sometimes I do. All right, so for the purple guy, it's y equals mx plus b. So we're going to start at -2, and then we're going to go up 3 over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is a solid line, meaning I can go ahead and close it. And so for the purple only, it's less. So the purple only is below. And the minute they start overlapping in that little spot right here, that's the solution set to the system. Again, each of them have their own separate answer, but where they cross, where they overlap, overlapping shading, is the solution set to the whole system, meaning both answers at the same time. Okay, that's what you got to do, is shade the overlap. I got to be able to see where you cross. And again, if I ask for like, give me a sample solution, then you're going to grab any point that falls inside here. So like 11, 0, you know, this would be guessing over here. So this looks like 9, -1. These are just examples. Okay. And that is it. So again, watch this over and over again to make sure that you're getting everything for that, paying real close attention to what's solid, what's dotted, and what's above and what's below. Okay, thanks.